Hello. So we are talking to Tracy Ward today. Tracy used to be a business coach to me and is now a kind of mentor slash friend and an exceptionally talented coach as well. So Tracy, do you want to give us a bit of a background on yourself and then introduce your business and let us know?
Yeah, look, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, Tanya. In terms of my background, it's very varied. So anybody looking at change, they've definitely come to the right point, because I started off actually in civil engineering. So I'm really familiar what it's like working in a male-dominated environment. Left that with my civil engineering degree and went into sales for years, and then realized I was really, having led a lot of successful sales teams, I was really interested in the person as opposed to the targets. So left that, went back to uni, did a psychology degree, and then I've spent the last 20 years now, Tanya, I find myself, I'm shaving off the number of years experience I have rather than adding them on. And I've spent the past 20 years coaching men and women, typically around leadership and communication. And now my real passion is coaching busy working women, especially working mothers, because there's such a stretch there where you're trying to juggle so many things.
So
sorry, go on,
I was going to say we asked you to come and chat today because our target audience at Unicorn Club are all brand newbies that haven't had businesses before.
Yep.
And they may have imposter syndrome. They may have crippling fear, thinking, who the hell am I to start a business? And what if everybody laughs at me? So how does business coaching fit into that? And where does the value lie for somebody to invest in themselves so early on?
Look, you use the word perfectly, to invest in themselves, and it sits perfectly with that new business, because that's when so much doubt is there of, am I crazy to maybe leave this job and do something different, and can I do it on my own? All that fear and doubt, which is so normal. It's the exact time when you should be investing in a coach. But for a lot of women, there's this but really, I'll be a sign of weakness if I ask for help. I really should be able to do it on my own. And it's quite interesting when I see women and we talk about their children, for example. If the child is wanting to do something new and they've got potential, they will immediately invest in a coach or somebody to leverage that with the child. If the child is struggling with something, they'll immediately get them support. So they're there busy supporting everybody around them and just assuming that they've got this. And it's exactly to propel a business forward, you need your own support crew.
Absolutely. And you were just also telling me before we turned on the recording that you like to work on the person, not on the business. So what does that mean?
Yeah, a beautiful question. What it means is we've been conditioned through our childhood and our upbringing to be a certain type of person. And particularly when you look at being female, like, I was brought up, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it. My career's counselling at school. They advised me to be a nurse or to be a bank teller, which is, there's nothing wrong in those careers, except I'm not a detail person and I don't do blood, and I wanted to do something else. But we've very much been conditioned into who we should be. And so I work on the woman to give them permission to be the woman that they want to be, and to dream big, and to know that they are enough right now with all their imperfections. I wrote a book called Being Perfectly Imperfect, and that's what we all are. and it's just celebrating who you are. And when you go, okay, this is who I am enough now, I don't need to prove anything to anybody. Suddenly that becomes so liberating. And that's really, I suppose I probably should call myself a freedom coach. I give women permission to be free to do whatever they want to do, what's right for them.
That's beautiful. I love that. So, but sometimes those imperfections can be turned into a positive as well. So you don't, you can use it to your advantage rather than having this negative self-talk around, oh, I've got these flaws.
Oh, look, totally. And also they define you as a person. For example, as I was mentioning to you before, I'm not a detail person, and anybody that works with me will know I'm not a detail person. But because I'm not hung up on that detail, I tap into my intuition a lot more. So we'll often have these crazy conversations with clients where they'll go, I was talking to a sales leader in the US, and he just laughed. He goes, Tracy, you're 6 minutes in and you've nailed who I am and all my issues. And so it's about understanding what you're good at and what you aren't, and what you don't enjoy doing. I think that's really separating that, because even we can be really good. And I know, Tanya, you are such a talented woman. But the thing is, what I see with a lot of women, they have talents over such a broad area, and they think they should be focusing. It's back to that magic word of should, which is really our intuition saying, actually, I don't really want to, but everybody else is telling me I ought. So yeah, our imperfections are great life guides.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree with you. And I think there's so much pressure on women these days to just be everything to everybody, and they are propping up the family, they're in the workforce, they're working full time, and it's kind of self-imposed pressure, isn't it?
Oh, totally. What I talk about with women all the time is boundaries, and it's having boundaries in particular with their family, with their friends, their work. And it's also understanding, having boundaries with the problems that they take on. Just because you might be a great problem solver, and just because you like to help, doesn't mean to say you should help and solve everybody else's problems. And that's what I see a lot with women. What they do with their children, they don't let their children fail enough when they are younger so that they learn. I see it in business. They don't let their team members try new things and potentially fail, but learn. I'm always saying fail, first attempt in learning. You've got to give that gift of failure. Failure is feedback. We need it. That's how we learn. And that's what everybody else needs. So for a woman starting her business, she needs to be really comfortable. First version of a business might not work. Second version might not work. Third, fourth, fifth, but the sixth might. And that's where it will absolutely fly. And I think for women, we set ourselves up because we think we've got to get it right the first time. But when you look at any of the successful entrepreneurs of the world, they've had a multitude of failures. They're just not always reported, but all the stories are there. Richard Branson had virgin brides, I think. It's not buying women online, but buying brides' dresses online, virgin cars, virgin cola. None of them worked, but it didn't stop him from moving forward.
That's right. And he's a master at picking industries that need to be disrupted, and he's not afraid to take the step and at least try and fail. And I guess that's a key message as well, isn't it? That fear of failure can hold you back from doing something amazing. And what's the worst that can happen, really? So what if they laugh?
Yeah.
So what if it doesn't work? At least you gave it a go. I bet you there'll be a hell of a lot of envy behind those sniggers. Yeah.
are so many women I know. I mean, often I get, and I don't know if you get this as well, Tanya, people say to me, you are so lucky to have your own business. You know, Friday morning I go swimming, you know, I work from wherever I want. I've moved it all online, and people say to me, oh, you are so lucky. And I go, it's got nothing to do with luck. It's everything to do with being brave and giving it a go. And I think that's the thing, understanding that giving it a go won't be perfect. Just like, you know, when we're little babies and we're learning how to walk, we don't think one day, I'll just stand up and walk and master it. You know, we stand up, we give it a go, we fall down, we go, that's interesting, learn from that. Let me crawl over to a sofa and start from there. That's how we learn, that's how we grow.
Baby steps. I love that. Yeah. I just read a book called Atomic Habits. I'm not sure if you've read it, by James Clear, and he talks about that. It's just small incremental steps every single day to take you towards your goal, which eventually compounds and then makes the big bang or the big difference in your life. And often that's all it takes, is just a tiny step every day. I've got this thing that I do every single day. I write on a post-it note 3 things I want to achieve for the day, and I don't do anything until I've done those 3 things. And that way I know by the end of the week, at least I've achieved 15 goals for the week.
Absolutely. And it gives you that great sense of achievement. Every day you're moving forward. Whereas if you have in front of you, you know, that long list, it's overwhelming. And even though you might do 3 of that long list, you're still going, oh, but there's another 50 more to do.
Yeah. But when I started the business, I'm a post-it note queen. I had about 100 notes everywhere of little things that I had to do. And I'm down to about 15 now, and I'm feeling really good about it all.
Yeah, post-it notes are my friend. I have them everywhere. I've got all sorts of inspiration around my apartment. There's always new things, particularly in lockdown. I've really ramped up my gratitude. I think if we're not careful, we can get in a funk. So I've really ramped that up. So yeah, I have post-it notes. I definitely practice what I preach. That's for sure, Tanya.
That's awesome. So Tracy, just to wrap up, have you got advice for new business owners or people sitting on the fence and just being paralyzed by that fear or just unsure of taking that next step?
Yeah, I think if you have that idea already in your head, I can tell whichever woman it is, whatever idea it is, you are ready now. And you will learn everything that you need to know about business along the way, but you're ready now. And if you don't do it now, when will you? Because the one thing we can't stop is time. And there's never, just like having children, there's never a right time to have a child. If you were to analyze it, you just go, well, they're just quite frankly too expensive. There's never the right time to start a business other than now. And so I would just say yes to all the beautiful women that you reach, that they are enough now, they are ready. And any gaps, if they're there going, well, I don't know how to do that yet, it will come to them. It will come to them.
Yeah, I think that's a great analogy, because isn't parenthood the biggest sort of learning curve? You're learning on the job. You've never been a mother to a 1-year-old or a toddler or a teenager or a so yeah
absolutely. I mean, if I went on knowledge for having children, I wouldn't have had children. The first baby I held was my own, and I can still remember to this day picking him up in the hospital with this perfectly formed terry toweling nappy still formed on the bed, naked baby up here. And I went, okay, this is going to be a work in progress, you know. But that's exactly what business is like. and you just enjoy the journey of growth and learning, which goes along with your success.
Yeah, and iterating, changing the way you do it, or changing what from the lessons you've learned along the way.
Yeah, and it's so empowering to do your own thing.
Yes.
It is just so empowering. And if you've got a dream, follow it. Absolutely follow it. It's in your brain for a reason.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you, Tracy. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat to us today.